So before starting the lesson, make sure that you have a gig on Fiverr, you've completed your profile, and that way we can make sure we're all going at the same pace. So previously, Fiverr used to have something called seller request, where sellers would have clients come to them. So that means that the buyer, the client, would come on Fiverr and be like, I need a logo. I have $25 to give and I want it by Friday. And then you would be, along with other freelancers, bidding on that project saying that I can do one for you for $20 and give it to you by Thursday. Another person would do the same, and it was kind of like a bidding process. The client would then choose the one that they like the most. On Fiverr, you can have clients come to you and have you going to the client. So it works both ways. And it's definitely a good idea to do both of them when you're first starting out, just so you have a baseline that can grow from there. So I'm here in my dashboard. I just went to dashboard, and this whole thing that I just mentioned is in the My Business tab. So click on that. First, we have our orders. Anything that is active, denied, in queue, and other stuff is going to show up on this page. So priorities are the ones that are about to be expired, and you have to get them done ASAP. The active ones, the ones that are late, delivered, completed, canceled, and start. So you can manage them perfectly like this. You also get a lot of information on that. And if you get a lot of clients, you can just search to go back to one of them and just get all the information. I believe that Fiverr does keep all the history of your projects. There may expire after a couple months or so, but for the most part, you can always come back here and review what you've done and what happened with those projects. The second option is the gigs. So currently we have one gig. If it's active, it's going to show up here. Pending approval, here requires modification, draft, denied, paused. So as I mentioned, when you make a new gig, it kind of goes through a review process by the Fiverr team. And if there's anything wrong with it, you will be notified. And then you're supposed to fix it before it goes live. So when I click on this, I have the option to edit it, whether it's to publish it, modify it, or I could just delete the whole thing. You can create new gigs right here. And this is where the brief situation was. So you want to make sure you set a rate for these briefs, basically your minimum. So far we've been doing by project, but now think of this as your hourly rate. I'm going to go with 20 for now since I'm a beginner. If you don't want to get briefs, just turn it off. And there's this other thing called custom orders. If a client wants something like what you're offering, but wants a few tweaks, you can make a custom order for them. And there's an option that the clients can click on. However, if you feel like that's way too spontaneous and you want to stick to your routine, you can just turn it off. Next, we have the profile, which we've been here before, and then, of course, the earnings. So here you can see all that you've earned and even get some exports. For example, a statement you need for something, you can just ask Fiverr to give you one. Pretty easy to do. You will also, of course, get notified via email if you've got new earnings, if there's some problem with your bank, and etc. If you want to see how well your gig is doing, the impressions, the clicks, and orders. Now, one thing that I do want to point here, if you saw that you are getting impressions but no clicks, that's not a horrible thing. The most important thing that you want to focus on is getting impressions in the first place. That means that you are at least on the search results and people are looking at your thumbnail. And if you're not getting any clicks, that's an indication that you need to work on your thumbnail and your title. So your thumbnail, as we mentioned, should be very straight to the point. You don't want it to be some random drawing, but rather exactly what you're trying to offer. So right now we have a bunch of logos as our thumbnail. And if I saw that it's getting 100 impressions but 0 clicks, and it's been, say, a month, I need to step up my thumbnail game. Now, there are some ways that you can do that. I'm just going to head over to Canva. Alright, so it's similar to YouTube thumbnails. Some people like to put their faces on there, you know, a nice headshot, professional, and then a big text next to it. So, minimal modern logo or amazing anime voice. So the big title immediately grabs the client's attention, and the photo next to it just earns their trust. You're telling them that you are a real human and not a bot. You're not AI, like a lot of the other designers on this platform. And that really does increase your chances of getting an order. So you can design it yourself, but there's all these templates that you can use. You can change it to the way you want them to and put this instead of your current thumbnail. Now, in terms of title, we looked at the plugin, which was Fiverr Mate. Use those information that you can extract with that plugin to find the best title for your gig. Be sure to use some buzzwords. It doesn't have to be bland, and that way you can increase your chances. Now, if you did all of that and it's still not working, you can turn your gigs into ads. If you go to growth and marketing, scale your business, you can first of all have a badge to put on someone's website or a blog. You can also share your profile on different social medias. Now let's copy this link. This goes to my profile, and look at where we can put this. A lot of these social media platforms have huge communities for Fiverr freelancers sharing their gigs. And the biggest ones are actually on Facebook. So search for Facebook Fiverr groups, and there are so many. I'm going to close that. So not only do people come here for requests, but you can also advertise your work. So this person is advertising their logos. This person wants a logo designer. It's a pretty big community, I believe. Yep, there's 38,000 people here. There are obviously smaller groups if you feel like this is way too intimidating. But Facebook is a great place to put in your work samples, whether or not you have them done on Fiverr. Put them to impress them and showcase your skills, and then direct them to Fiverr. The next place is on Reddit. So it's called Fiverr Gigs, very straight to the point. People will say what they will do, and there's a link to it. So that's another way that you can do it. There are other places too, but Facebook and Reddit are pretty popular in this field. I have also seen people advertise on YouTube in the comment section, but I'm not too sure how many people will see that. So if your gig is not doing so good, there are many ways to change that, whether it's going onto social media and advertising, whether you pay Fiverr to promote your gig and have it show up as a sponsored post, or if it's just by improving the way it looks through changing the title and putting in a better thumbnail. So those are things that you can keep in mind moving forward with the lesson. And before going to the next lesson, I do want you guys to create a thumbnail for your Fiverr gig, whether you choose to put your photo or not, just something that's very bright, grabs the attention, and then I want you guys to put it as your primary image so it's the first thing people will see. You can add the logos that you've designed around that thumbnail in the background, or have it be on the next slides. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and good luck improving your gigs.